I'd like to invite a friend of ours and now ministry partner with us, Kathy Saigeon. Please come to Kathy. She's working with us, our ministry, about developing our endowment. We have an endowment now, and we're not going to take time to talk about it, what all that means in particular. She'll give an example. But one thing about Kathy, she loves God, and having an endowment for ministry purposes or even family purposes is such a godly thing because it ensures your legacy continues. And I want to ensure that our legacy of this church continues, not continues, but expands to the whole nother level that impacts not just the church organization, but you all. Say you all. You all. Say me. Me. And my children. And my grandchildren. And so we met, and she has outstanding credentials. She's an accountant in background, loves God, but also she used to be part of the Kellogg Foundation, managing their endowment years ago in Michigan. And then she came to California and began to work with the Fuller Theological Seminary, Christian organization that develops ministers and so forth, helped their endowment go from $200 million to about $500 million. And then she was also the chief financial officer of the California endowment, which had those billions of dollars. So we have someone that has expertise, because that's where we're going.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Ed. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Pastor Ed and Lady Vanessa, thank you so much for having me. The two young ladies sitting right behind me, I was a first-time visitor at the first service. I'm now a second-time visitor at this service. I'm feeling very welcomed and very loved. There's a lot of love in this church. The Holy Spirit's definitely here. It's wonderful to be here. I want to ask you all a question. Who here has been to Billings, Montana? Has somebody been to Billings?
One person.
Oh, one person has. Oh, my goodness. I've never been to Billings, Montana. You need to go through a whole lot of God's country to get to Billings, right? Absolutely. It's out there. It's out there in the middle of kind of nowhere. It's not a very big community, and there's just a lot of open space around it, kind of modest, working class, all that kind of thing. Another question, who here knows about the Boys and Girls Clubs? Lots of people know about them. Wonderful organization, right? Chapters all over the country doing a wonderful, wonderful work taking care of the children in our community, those that are coming from, tough situations, abuse or poverty or that kind of thing. The community surrounds them. Well, in Billings, Montana, about 30 years ago, this is the local chapter I'm talking about, the executive director of that local chapter cast a vision, much like you all are doing here with Pastor Ed's leadership, casting a vision, thinking about now, legacy now for us, for children and children's children. By the way, I'm a single mom, 2 sons, now 2 grandkids. When you've got grandkids, you really start thinking about this stuff differently because you realize that your influence is a little bit different than that of the parents. You also recognize the parents are running around exhausted most of the time, and there's a role we can play as grandparents, right? But it matters because it matters to me after I'm gone, what community are my grandkids going to have? What kind of support? What kind of values? Value is everything.
Come on.
So anyway, this small Boys and Girls Club in Billings, Montana, out there in the middle of nowhere, this executive director decides this is important to the community. It's so important to the community, I'm going to encourage our community to not only fund this year and next year, a year at a time, but to encourage them in this same kind of a legacy vision that Pastor's teaching you about. And so they started an endowment. What that really means is we're taking part of that savings, Deacon James talked about, part of that savings is there for the long haul, right? It's like our savings for retirement, but it's there for the long haul so that if there's lean years, if something happens, there's resources there to help that. And so he started that 30 years ago.
Wow.
And in this small community, it came in first a little. There were some gifts. There were some bequests along the way. And I'm telling you, 30 years later today, they've raised $35 million in this endowment fund that now sends off income every year. This is what Pastor's talking about with legacy for the next generation and the next generation. So that these children, if we think about it, these parents and grandparents who cared about their community, cared about the values, wanted those kids that were falling through the cracks to have the community surround them with what they knew would be resourced. Even if they were gone, have done that. Not only that, I just, one of my board members at Christian Foundation, the West, knows this person well, told him just a week or so ago that they now have, and they call it the pipeline, another over $60 million of commitments, gifts that are going to come from people's last will and testament or other kinds of gifts that they can give. So imagine this little community, because there was a spark of vision.
Yeah.
It was coming from the gut. It was coming from a sense of love and caring about this eternal promise that God's given to us in our hands. It's our job to take care of that. And so what we're very, very proud, humbled, and looking forward to doing is being a partner with you, with Pastor, your deacon leadership, and others. As you're walking this journey, we can help families think about, well, how do I make that work? How do I really make that work in my family? There are many things that can be done now, over time, or whatever. So I just say thank you.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to be part of the Zoe Christian Fellowship, and we're looking forward to working with you. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.